All right, we're going to take a closer and expanded look at a lot of our swinging techniques, okay? So to start off, we're going to start with horizontal forehand and backhand. Very simply, forehand inwards, backhand, forehand, backhand, okay? We can hit all three levels, okay? Forehand low, backhand low, swing, swing. When I'm here, breaking across the back. So actually on the opposite side, lat, as I come across. And here, tricep breaking as I come up. So even if I go for a low swing, here's my tricep break. Low swing. All right. And then same thing, horizontal. I can air brake, or midsection, sorry, midsection. So low, mid, and high. I can come across, here, here. So high, middle, low, forehand, backhand. So when I did the high backhand, palm down, okay? I can also do this palm up, okay? Palm up is going to be a bit more of a deflective motion rather than an attacking motion. So I'm here and I come up, and that's going to offer me more deflection, okay? So horizontal, forehand, backhand, high, middle, and low, okay? Low often taking out that knee, middle going for the ribs and or elbow, whatever you end up hitting, and then high, we're aiming for the head, okay? We have downwards, right? So we practice down and up, so we have up and down. So we have horizontal and vertical, okay? This can be straight, just like we started off practicing, or it can come at a variety of different angles. So I can come down and across. Right, so I can practice getting angles, angle, angle, right? So all of those are staying in this quadrant of angle coming down, okay? And then, same thing on backhand down. All angles, upwards, right? Here, so we've started off by going up to the same side, but I can also go up and back. So bring this across my shoulder blade, here, coming up and back. The backhand, up. Okay, as I go for my backhand up, I'm going to rotate so that the stick can end up with a nice break as I come up. All right. And again, I can have all sorts of angles on that motion as I come up. Okay. So up, down, and add a variety of different angles in the mix there. From our armpit position, right, it's very easy to see our straight strike where I go forwards into my strike, snapping forward, snap, 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 snapping my strike forward. So I have a forward strike, forward swing. Now I can also do that from, for example, my ready position. Okay, I'm here and forwards, forwards. So it's a bit of a down strike, but it comes more forward rather than here where it's an overhead downward strike, right? So our straight strike goes forward more from the armpit position and from the ready position, boom. So you can even be ready to do your high block, low cross, boom, and then strike straight forward, okay? Striking straight. We have our figure eight, okay? So figure eight, very easy to think about. We have a couple ways we can throw the figure eight. We can throw the figure eight with the shoulder. I can throw the figure eight with the elbow. And I can throw the figure eight with the wrist, okay? And as you can see by that demonstration, the angle and size of the figure eight gets tighter and tighter, right? So we talked about adding a variety of angles to the horizontal and the vertical. That is what basically gets us the shoulder figure eight. So I'm coming here, 1, 2. All right, so there's a big figure eight, big power swings, okay? And it gets me back to a nice position where I can just continue. Right, I can reverse the figure eight and angles up and down horizontally. All right, so I'm just be able to bring that to a figure eight like motion, okay? Then I can focus on here, right? Am I using more of my elbow? Right? I get to control this space a lot tighter, okay? And there's a smaller time frame between my strikes. Then I can focus on using the wrist, where now I'm staying almost entirely within the form of the body, right? So shoulder, I was out here. Elbow, I was just beyond body, okay? Now I'm inside. So there's this very tight range of technique, okay? So and as you get good at this, this is actually getting pretty close to the arm on either side. And it's just a very subtle motion with the wrist, okay? So very subtle motion with the wrist, which is what keeps that going. Okay, you can also try to do a reverse once you get more comfortable. It's always going to feel more awkward, but figure eight can add a lot of little strikes. As you'll see once we get to the aggressor flow exercises, there's some really good examples of how the figure eight tightly controls your space and then gives you an opportunity to move on. Now the attacks won't be very hard because they don't have as much pickup, but nonetheless it'll definitely give your opponent something, hit, and then move on and to something else, right? So oftentimes you go figure eight, armpit, forward strike, figure eight, armpit, forward, forward, figure eight, forward, forward, okay? So again, we can modulate how tight that figure eight basically is. Next, we have our circle swings or circle strikes, okay? So this is where the stick is making a complete circle before striking, okay? So I usually like to start people with the downwards version. So instead of striking straight down, I'm going to circle and then strike. And this just gives us a little bit extra time to build up more momentum or offset the timing of our hit or modulate the further range of the strike, okay? So what it'll be is here, circle and then strike. Okay, and this can have a variety of wrist rolling. So I can roll my wrist entirely, and that's going to create this circle. I can keep my wrist straight and just use momentum, and now that circle stays right here. Okay, so I roll the wrist, I don't roll the wrist. wrist is going to give you more energy, but it's also going to take up more space. So it depends on what I need to account for. So if I'm in the middle of starting to swing, but my opponent enters, I'll keep it tighter so that that strike is actually landing right here in front of me, rather than circling and striking all the way out there. All right, so striking down, and then I can do the same thing going up. So here, circle and up, circle and up, circle and up. Okay. So I can circle up, I can circle down, I can also circle to a horizontal strike. Okay, so I'll be circling over my head and across, over my head and across. All right. So circling up and circling down. From my reverse, or from my parry position, I have the reverse backhand, right? So I'm rotating in this way, right? So this is a palm down horizontal. And then I have my standard backhand horizontal as well, okay? I don't have as much of a forehand, but if and when I do, I'll make sure I rotate so the palm is up, and that's going to make sure I have more control from this reverse position at all times. And then if you want to get real fancy, from the reverse position, you can also do a figure eight. All the same thing, it's going to feel a little bit scarier because of where we're holding. Rather than here, we're holding middle-ish. Obviously, you can adjust this to be here or all the way down here. Okay, and actually, go ahead and play around with that, because you'll start to get a better feeling for the weight and energy of this. So you watch the stick that's in my hand, and you'll see how much it wiggles back and forth. versus when I go to the middle, or the top. Okay? So that's just hitting the gi. From my reverse position, I have the reverse figure eight. Okay. It also feels scary because here, as I'm doing the figure eight, here's where the stick comes to. But when I'm here, the stick gets to come closer to you. So just be mindful of that. And that's why that'll feel a little bit scarier. Okay? So once you start to get a little bit more comfortable with playing with these angles and strikes, another exercise I'll recommend is doing triangles. So I'm going to triangle. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Right? And I start at every point of the triangle. 1, 2, 3. Okay. I do backwards. 1, 2, 3. Right. So I'm making a triangle, starting and stopping at the different points. Okay. So it's going to really help you with your transitions, and you'll start to see where all of this starts to feel comfortable. Okay. And then I mentioned it a little bit with the breaking lesson that we went over, is trying to stop. So get comfortable. All right, I'm doing good, and stop. Stop. Go, go. 1, 2, 3, stop. 1, 2, 4, stop. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so trying to find a break. So give yourself a random interval and go for it. Okay, and this will help you get really good at modulating and understanding the proprioception of where that stick is at all times and seeing how good you're feeling with that. Okay, so we covered a lot in terms of swinging, but in essence we have a horizontal at different heights, okay, with palm down and palm up. Okay, we have verticals that we can adjust to multiple angles. Once we're comfortable with those angles, you put them together and you get figure eights. Focusing on the figure eight with the shoulder is nice and wide, elbow gets tighter, and the wrist brings it the tightest, okay? And that's going to minimize the power but increase the speed. And then we went over the circle swing, which modulates the range and energy that we can put in by making a circle before going up or down or coming around to the horizontal. Okay, so be careful, build it up. I know I say it a lot, but go slow, get the hang of each of those individually, practice, and then put them together, add the triangles, then put it all together, focus on random stoppages, and that'll help you with your braking and proprioception and overall fluidity with Nunchaku. Okay? So work on that, and we'll put this all together.